Toronto Stevie Live. Toronto Stevie Live with the return of the Smackdown Summary. So, I just watched Smackdown tonight, and I thought, well, I'll get on here and give you a little special. I know I haven't done any Smackdown summaries for quite a while, but here we go. Um, Ahead of Crown Jewel in Perth, Australia. Uh, SmackDown comes to you from actually Perth, Australia, and they start off SmackDown with the opening segment is WWE undisputed champion Cody Rhodes coming down to the ring, and he gets a big huge ovation from the Australian crowd. And he does he's what do you want to talk about introduction. And when he immediately says that we could talk about Seth Rollins, they immediately start to boo Seth Rollins' name. But he says that Crown Jewel just might be Seth Rollins' Achilles heel. You know, I don't blame Seth Rollins for his actions. When you love WWE like Seth Rollins does, you'll do anything. But when you start to think you're the only one who can carry all of this, then that's your downfall. That's a quest for control and a quest for power. So Cody, actually, the great thing about this was Cody was not interrupted immediately by Paul Heyman or Seth Rollins like he did previously, but instead he puts over Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, Rhea Ripley, Jey Uso, CM Punk, naming all the baby faces that get a good crowd reaction. And then he looks over at Michael Cole, who's sitting at ringside, and he mentions Seth Rollins' name once again. And he asks, and then the crowd starts to react. So he asks Michael Cole, what is it that the crowd is saying? And Michael Cole will not respond. So Wade Barrett, who's sitting at ringside with Michael Cole, picks up the house mic and he says, Seth Rollins is a wanker. So I suppose if you're British, you know what a wanker is. And then that just ends the segment. We get backstage. There's a quick backstage segment with Stephanie Vaquer and Chelsea Green. I guess Chelsea Green is trying to recruit new members of the Secret Service, but Stephanie is having none of it. Tiffany Stratton comes up, and it looks like they're going to have a tag team match as partners, even though they're facing each other the following night, tomorrow morning. Actually, it's going to be morning when they face each other. And then coming back from the commercial break, there was a quick segment with Jacob Fatu and Cody Rhodes. And then when Cody disappears, Jacob has a one-on-one with Nick Aldis, the SmackDown general manager. And then when Nick disappears, Jacob's back is turned, and he is basically assaulted by Drew McIntyre. And you kind of wonder when Jacob is being assaulted by Drew McIntyre, what happened to Cody Rhodes and what happened to Nick Aldis, and why they didn't just intervene and stop this. But we go back to the ring for our opening match of the night. Once again, Sami Zayn is doing the open match challenge, defending the WWE United States title. And who answers the challenge? None. They were singing his song, and we're really into this match. Shinsuke got a lot of offense in. He got some Kinshasa kicks, tried to pin and win the title, but Sami Zayn, like, he would put his foot on the ropes to break the count and keep his belt. Sami Zayn would go for his moves, but the haluva kick, but Shinsuke would get out of it. He'd try the Blue Thunder Bomb, but Shinsuke would get away from it. So this one kept going back and forth when all of a sudden Shinsuke was at ringside and somebody in a black hoodie just, I don't know, jumped the barricade and attacked Shinsuke Nakamura. And I'm looking at this and I'm wondering, who is that? And then Michael Cole immediately kind of recognizes who it is. And even when the guy looked into the camera, I was still looking at it, wondering, who is that? And then Michael Cole said that's Tama Tonga. And Tama Tonga had returned and he had all his face paint on. And they just threw Shinsuke back into the ring. And then all the other MFTs came into the ring and they had face paint. Tala Tonga, Jeff Cobb, JC Mateo, I guess is what you guess now. And the other ones like Tala Tonga, and the big, really tall one, and the other Tonga, the other one, Haku's kids. I'm not really sure which one it was. And they all proceed to beat the crap out of both Shinsuke Nakamura and Sami Zayn, and they leave them laying, and then that leaves Solo Sikoa to come into the ring, and then all five of them just stand over the beaten Shinsuke and Sami Zayn as we go to commercial break. But this was not the last we saw of the MFTs. Coming back from the commercial break, Nick Aldis is backstage, and he basically says that next week on SmackDown, we're going to have Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu. So there's a match to look forward to. And then we go back to the ring, and it's a tag team match. Stephanie Vaquer and Tiffany Stratton taking on Julia and Kiana James. And I must say this, Kiana James is one smoking hot woman. I'll give her that. But this match didn't go very long. You saw Tiffany Stratton hit the prettiest moonsault ever on, I think it was it Kiana James or was it Julia? Maybe it was Kiana James. And Tiffany Stratton got the pinfall, and the baby faces won the match. And then we come back from the commercial break, and we get another tag team match. This time it's the Street Profits going for the tag team titles against the WWE Tag Team Champions, the Wyatt Six. And what I noticed about this was that there was no Uncle Howdy. I guess Bo Dallas didn't make the trip, but you did have Nikki Cross, Abby the Witch, and Eric Rowan accompanied Joe Gacy and the other guy. Who was the other guy? Joe Gacy and the quiet one, Dexter Loomis. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, Dexter. Kind of forgot who you were. But anyway, great tag team match. Quick tag team match. B-Fab accompanied the baby faces. And it was the Wyatt Six defending the tag team titles. They did their finishing move on one of the Street Profits and pinned him in the middle of the ring to retain the tag team titles. But then as the lights went out, you could see the Wyatt Six posing in the ring, and behind them the crowd started to rumble, and you could see you could see the MFTs coming up behind them, getting in the ring, and they were really noticeable with their white face paint. And you just had a stare down, and because Eric Rowan got in the ring, so there was like three of them: Joe Gacy, Dexter Loomis, and Eric Rowan, and Nikki Cross, staring down the other five members of the MFTs. I thought was really funny was Nikki Cross immediately got into Solo Sikoa's face and basically had a stare down between these two. And if you ever see Nikki Cross is a very small woman. And so it was really funny seeing her standing up to Solo Sikoa. But the heels didn't do anything. They just kind of they did their stare down, and basically, I guess Solo Sikoa basically said that they were going to come after the tag team titles. So I guess we're probably going to get a tag team title match in the near future, and it would not surprise me at all if the Wyatt Six drop the tag team titles to the MFTs, some combination of the MFTs. But that's to be continued. We had a quick interview, everyone's favorite backstage interviewer and mine, the very sexy Kathy Kelly, interviewing The Miz, asking her about why he turned on Carmelo Hayes last week. And then coming back from the commercial break were highlights from the Crown Jewel kickoff show. And then it led into our main event of SmackDown, last man standing match, Damian Priest versus Aleister Black. This feud has been brewing for weeks, with both guys attacking the other, and this did not disappoint. You had Damian Priest give not one but two razor's edges, I guess, to Aleister Black onto the announce table. And the announce table did not break. It did not collapse. And so Aleister Black just lied there on the announce table. And the referee was counting to 10. But before he got to about 8 or 9, Aleister Black just simply slid off the table. So he kept the match going. They both tumbled over the barricade out into the crowd. And they found these risers in the back there, and Aleister Black and Damian Priest fought onto one of the risers, and it looked like Damian Priest was basically telling Aleister Black, get up, and that's when all of a sudden you saw somebody very familiar coming up through the crowd, and it was Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega basically gets in between, beside Damian Priest, standing next to Aleister Black, and Damian Priest basically just paused for a second, and that's when Aleister Black, you could see that he had something in his hand. That's when he threw a fireball into Damian Priest's face. Damian Priest was kind of just discombobulated, and that allowed Aleister Black to hit the Black Mass kick, and Damian Priest took this tumble off of the riser, crashed to the floor. The referee counted 10, and Aleister Black won the last man standing match, which probably is a good move. I mean, like, Damian Priest is probably bulletproof at this point, so he really did not need to win the match. Aleister Black probably needed the win more than him. But I noticed on screen that Michael Cole and Wade Barrett did not make mention of the fact that Aleister Black and Zelina Vega are married. They apparently have been married since 2018. So another on-screen And another real life married couple is now together on screen. I guess they joined like Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. And then there's like Montez Ford and Bianca Belair. Um, you've seen The Miz and Maurice as an on-screen couple. Uh, when they were in WWE, you saw Edge um, and again, now I'm drawing a blank. Beth Copeland. Um, so like Beth Phoenix. I know I remember her name. So now you've got Aleister Black and Zelina Vega, real life married couple. They're now on screen. So I guess Zelina is leaving the Latino World Order to become a heel. So we'll see where this goes. But that was a quick rundown of SmackDown. Um, great match. Actually, probably I would even say that this episode of SmackDown, the go home show to Crown Jewel in Perth, Australia, I actually enjoyed this more than I enjoyed Monday Night Raw. A lot of wrestling, very little talking. When you got a 3 hour Raw, there's just so much time to fill, and they just don't feel that they've got to do a lot of talking segments, backstage segments, and as filler when they could put more matches together. Those, in my opinion, those are the better Monday Night Raws when there's a lot of wrestling. Tell the story in the ring instead of backstage or, in an in-ring talking segment. So we got Crown Jewel Perth, Australia coming up. And so I just wanted to do a little preview. So let's take a look at what the matches are going to be. Here we go. So the matches. And I guess this is kind of a replacement for the Survivor Series matches that they used to do. Now they're doing it at Crown Jewel. Now, no titles are on the line, but they did introduce the Crown Jewel ring. So I guess these are matches for a ring. You have the undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes taking on the World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins. Cody Rhodes has won 3 matches in a row against Seth Rollins, and Seth hasn't won a single match. So I'm kind of predicting that somehow, some way, Seth Rollins is going to pull out a win, probably with the help of the Prawn Bronze, and he's going to win the Crown Jewel ring. I think it's probably about time that Seth got a win in this feud. You have Stephanie Becker, the Women's World Champion, taking on the WWE Champion, Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton. I'm kind of thinking that Tiffy is going to take the ring for this one. I could be wrong, but if I were booking this, I would give it to Tiffy. This is kind of like a babyface versus babyface match, even though Tiffy is probably a better heel than a babyface. But I'll still predict Tiffany Stratton will win this match. You're getting a fan favorite match, or John Cena versus AJ Styles. Now, John Cena is coming off a loss to Brock Lesnar. He got his ass kicked by Brock Lesnar. So this is going to be one of his few remaining matches. I fully predict John Cena is probably going to beat AJ Styles. So I'll say the winner of this match will be John Cena. So, and then you have a tag team match. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky taking on the Kabuki Warriors of Kairi Sane and Asuka. I know I was just finished watching, it was Stevie Richards doing a review of the Kairi Sane versus Io Sky match, in which Kairi Sane did an Alabama Slam on Io Sky on the ring apron, and he was very critical of this. He was probably wondering, it was probably one of the stupidest moves he's ever seen in like 30 years in the business. And he felt that you just don't do this move. If you're going to do an Alabama Slam, don't do it on the edge of the ring apron. So it's amazing. He said that it's amazing that Kairi Sane wasn't killed because the back of her head just slammed, whiplashed into the edge of the ring. So I'm kind of thinking, even though this is Australia, and Rhea Ripley is the hometown favorite, or she's the Australian native, I gotta say the Kabuki Warriors are probably going to win this match. So I'm going to predict Kairi Sane and Asuka. Maybe it might not be a popular decision, but I get the feeling that the heels are going to take this. And then the final match, Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed, one-on-one, Australian rules street fight. Basically a street fight. I know Bronson Reed, you could really make Bronson Reed if he won this match. But I just have a feeling that Roman Reigns is probably going to take this. He doesn't need the win. Bronson Reed probably needs it more than Roman Reigns. But I just have a feeling that this may even be the first match of the night. Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed in a street fight. So I fully predict Roman Reigns to win. So a lot of babyface wins. The only heel win might be the Kabuki Warriors beating Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. Oh yes, and Seth Rollins beating Cody Rhodes. So maybe 2 out of the 5 matches the heels are going to win. 3 out of the 5 I fully predict baby faces to win at Crown Jewel, Perth, Australia. So I did get a chance to watch the NXT show, Showdown, I think it was called. And so they had an NXT versus TNA Showdown show Tuesday night. I don't normally watch NXT, but because WWE, we didn't have an In Your Head this week, I had some extra time on my hands. And so I was able to actually spend the time to watch the matches. And they had like 4 matches on the show. The opening match was the Hardy Boys, Jeff and Matt Hardy, representing TNA, taking on Dark State of Don Lennox and Osiris Griffin. This was title versus title, the NXT tag team titles versus the TNA tag team titles. And surprise, surprise, it was the Hardy Boys. 48-year-old Jeff Hardy and 51-year-old Matt Hardy winning the NXT tag team titles. So I guess this was, the one tag team title that the Hardy Boys had not won in WWE. So, but they're like really old and they're moving at half speed. And they really should retire and go into the WWE Hall of Fame, but they're still going strong, as best they can. But they are the new NXT Tag Team Champions. And then next we had the women's Survivor Series. The Survivor Series is now on Countdown or Showdown. Team NXT of JC Jane, Jada Parker, Sol Ruka, and Lola Vice taking on Team TNA of Kalani Jordan, Jessie McKay, Cassie Lee, and Mara Sade. But you may remember Jessica McKay and Cassie Lee. I guess they were the former Iconics. They are now Bleach Blonde, and they are now the Inspiration. I think that's what they're called. But anyway, it was Team NXT winning the matches, winning this one. I'll say something. Sol Ruka, damn, you're hot. Sol Ruka is really hot. I can't wait for her to go up to Raw or SmackDown full time. You know, she is making appearances on the main show, Raw. I think they're on Raw. I want to see more of Sol Ruka. Let me tell you that much. I think she's the women's speed champion too. The third match, you had Ethan Page defending the NXT North American title against Mustafa Ali. So yes, when Mustafa Ali got released from WWE, he went to NXT, he went to TNA, and so he was back. And but I guess before he left, he was promised an NXT North American title match. So like, only after he was released does he get it. But it was Ethan Page defending the title, defeated Mustafa Ali to keep the belt. And then the final match of the night, the men's Survivor Series match. You had Team TNA consisting of Mike Santana, Frankie Kazarian, Moose, and Leon Slater, taking on Team NXT consisting of Ricky Saints, Trick Williams, Javon Evans, and Miles Bourne. Of course, Ricky Saints is the former Ricky Starks from AEW. And I think Trick Williams is the current TNA World Heavyweight Champion. But he's from NXT. And you had Joe Hendry was the special guest referee. Oh, yes. And for the women's match, I think you had Jordan Grace was the special guest referee for that one. So Joe Hendry of TNA was the ref. And it was Trick Williams who just walked out on his team and basically allowed Team TNA to get the win. So it was Team TNA surviving at the end of this match. So I think you had Mike Santana and Moose were the lone survivors for Team TNA. The lone survivors in the women's match were JC Jane and Sol Ruka. Damn, she's hot. So that was that was NXT Showdown. And there was one other match, one other show that I caught. I believe it was the AEW Title Tuesday. So we'll take a look at that one as well. AEW Title Tuesday went on the same time as and the NXT Showdown show. So I got it later. Yeah. So let's take a look at what was on this one. So you had Jon Moxley taking on Tomohiro Ishii. And it was Jon Moxley basically submitting Tomohiro Ishii. You had the Hurt Syndicate of Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and MVP taking on The Demand, which I think is a dumb name. That's just me. Ricochet, Bishop Khan, and Toa Leona. When the Hurt Syndicate came into AEW, I was kind of thinking like Bobby Lashley. He's probably in his 50s. Is he going for the AEW World title? No. It looks like they're going to be tag team with Shelton Benjamin. And they sort of morphed from I guess depending on the opponent, the Hurt Syndicate can become either baby faces or heels. In this instance, it was a street fight, and it was the Hurt Syndicate defeating the Demand. Where they go from here, who knows? Does it even matter at this point? The third match was another tag team match. Jurassic Express of Jack Perry and Luchasaurus taking on Orion and KM. Don't know who these were. It was a 2-minute match. So Jack Perry, Luke Perry's kid. I met Luke Perry at Fan Expo Canada. Coolest dude you'd ever want to meet. He was very nice, just cool. I mean, if you were ever, to look for the definition of cool, it was Luke Perry. We had a great chat. Luke Perry and Jason Priestley they were scheduled to appear at Fan Expo one year, and they canceled out. And I didn't know they had canceled out until I got there, which was really disappointing. And then I had to wait years for them to reschedule. And then when they did reschedule, I got to meet both of them. Even got my picture taken with both of them. And Luke was really nice. And I think now, considering that he suddenly passed away, I'm really glad that I did have a chance to meet Luke Perry. But he's a side note there. Getting back to his kid, Jack Perry. So Jack Perry and Luchasaurus, I guess they're now a tag team again. And whether or not they basically become the tag team champions again, we'll wait and see if they eventually get to that. Next up was AEW TNT title match. Kyle Fletcher defending against Kyle O'Reilly. The Kyles fighting each other. Kyle Fletcher defended the belt. He kept the belt. Next match, singles match for the AEW TBS title. An open challenge. Mercedes Moné took on Lacey Lane. Now, for those of you wondering who Lacey Lane is, she is the former Caden Carter in WWE. So she's now in AEW. She put up a good fight, but it was Mercedes Moné, the former Sasha Banks, retaining her TBS title, which led into the next match. The Don Callis family, Konosuke Takeshita and Kazuchika Okada, taking on Brody King and Bandito. So this match was, I guess, to determine who would be the number one contenders for the tag team titles, because it was actually the Don Callis family that won this match. Now, I know Jackie Jones really is not, he's not a fan of Okada. He's more of a fan of Takeshita than Okada. But nonetheless, you had the Don Callis family got the win. So it was announced after this match that Takeshita and Okada were now the number one contenders for the tag team titles. So I guess at some point in the future, they're going to get a tag team title match. And then finally, the main event of the evening was Orange Cassidy versus Pac. This one was just a straight up singles match. In case you didn't know, Pac now has cut off his hair. He looks, he almost, I don't know. I don't know what you think, but I thought it was a bad idea. He probably should have kept the long hair. But nonetheless, Orange Cassidy, favorite of AEW, he wins the match. This one went about 15 minutes. Orange Cassidy winning that one. So there was, this week, there was like a lot of wrestling. as it seems like with every week, especially when you have like PLEs and special matches and just the TV, there's a lot of wrestling to watch. And I watched a lot of wrestling this week. But tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, I'm probably going to watch this on delay. I'm probably not going to watch it live. You're going to get Perth, Australia Crown Jewel. If Jackie Jones is back from New York City, he's doing New York City Comic Con. If he's back and has a show next week, we'll probably talk about this one. Maybe not. Maybe he might not even get a chance coming back. He might not get a chance to watch it, but if not, maybe I'll probably watch it sometime over the weekend. It is a long weekend, by the way. In Canada, this Monday is Canadian Thanksgiving. My wife and I are probably just going to do some Swiss chalet. We're just the two of us, so we're probably not going to cook a turkey. So anyway, to all the folks in Canada, happy Thanksgiving. And this is Toronto Stevie Live. Please remember, folks, please comment, like, subscribe. I'm trying to grow my channel. And I would really appreciate it if you would take a look at my content and let me know what you think. Comment on it. I'm also on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. You can find the connections there. And let me know what you think. But anyway, this is Toronto Stevie Live signing off. Thank you very much for listening and have a good night.